There's nothing like it. It's a really good way to express yourself.
It's an outlet for all these like-minded people.
Has a certain mystique to it that is kind of unexplainable.
It's a way to, sort of be somebody.
What else is it? Oh, it's also a video game.
He goes for it again.
Oh, that's right. Let's go. That's gonna finish the game.
My God.
Yes.
I'm probably scared to the end that got hit by it before.
Oh my God.
They've been smashing that down tilt.
It leads to a lot of interesting extensions.
Oh, very clean.
A party fighting game with all like these recognizable Nintendo icons like Mario, Yoshi.
Just about everywhere in the world, you'll be able to find someone who's a fan of this game and is still playing it with other people who also enjoy the game today.
My first experiences playing the game were meeting up with people off a forum, going into this guy's house, and 5-6 years later, there's some of my best friends.
Like the rush of just like being able to move your character in a certain way that you couldn't before just makes you want to move on to the next thing and try that as well.
And the crowd, you can feel that energy, the raw energy of the players wanting the win more than anything.
The Melee community is what's considered grassroots, and that is to say it's all run from within the community. All Melee tournaments are basically just run by people who love the game, and eventually some parts of the community will get big enough to run big tournaments, and that's your your Genesis, your Big House. They're all they all started from humble beginnings. But really, there's never been anything close to like a big circuit or a scene or something official that we can put a stamp on and be like, this is like the world tour for Smash.
Smash World Tour was going to be the biggest thing to happen to Super Smash Bros. Melee in the Australian community in a long time. You have to understand, like, this was just an avenue for smaller scenes such as ourselves to finally have Americans come to us of their own accord, because we were what's known as a platinum event. Battle Arena Melbourne, which is like the big tournament that was going to happen in Melbourne. It gave like the most points, like in the tier of giving out the most points that any tournament could give out. So there's two outcomes there. We get no internationals, and an Australian gets a whole lot of points to compete in the Smash World Tour finals, or Americans come and we get to play Americans because they want to get those points. So either way, we win.
I thought it was going to be a chance for Oz to show how good we are, and for other regions to get some free exposure to the best players in the world.
And so this announcement was really big for that, and it really was going to set up a lot of people's kind of lives for the rest of the year, but that didn't quite happen.
The realization that the Smash World Tour was, gonna have to either wait until next year or, who knows what's gonna happen. It was tough to take in, especially considering one of the last things that happened before, COVID and lockdown and things was an Australian major called Phantom. At Phantom, everyone's saying, see you at BAM, everyone come down, it's in like 2-3 months, you got to be there, like you can't miss it. Yeah, little did we know it was like one of the last times that we would see any of each other, even from our own state.
There'd been a few other viruses like the H1N1, swine flu, a couple others that had, they've been in headlines, how it's just going to be terrible and like the world can't handle a pandemic, and then they sort of just, fizzle out. They're contained, or they, they weren't as bad as they were led to be. But this was the one where it was like, you know, it just kept growing and growing and growing, and it's sort of like, well, actually, maybe this is a big deal.
So the thing about Melee compared to other games is that you actually have to sit down and play it in person if you want the genuine experience. I mean, there are online alternatives to Melee available, but they always feel like sort of a band-aid solution.
Interstate play was pretty bad on that, so it didn't even give you access to those players that you couldn't drive to go play.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. Don't make me relive the nightmares, please. It was terrible. It was terrible. You couldn't do anything. Like, your ping jumps up to 40, which is super, super normal. And you're just like, well, this is unplayable now. The frames are lagging. Like, I can't do anything. My inputs are getting eaten. Like, you try to play someone in Perth, forget about it. The thought of a nationwide netplay tournament is just so abstract on the old Dolphin.
Able to get it back there. Uh-oh. Frame rate.
Yeah, there's definitely some lag going on right now. I don't think Sock is. Yeah, Sock's not too happy about that.
I think everyone was very, very cynical at this point, especially with all the other kind of failed attempts at, you know, making the input delay a bit better, either on your computer or on LCDs. All these efforts never really quite, like, fixed the problems that we were having.
In the wake of coronavirus, some new software has come out which has made it much more playable than it ever has been.
It was like 2 a.m. and I was in a call with some Smash friends, and someone said, hey, have you seen this post about this Slippy thing? Never did we expect, you know, in a million years, the announcement that happened.
To explain it, this is me matchmaking in rollback melee with Zane. Zane lives in the MDVA in the east of the US. I'm from Sweden and this is over 100 ping. If you zoom in here, you can see the insane ping, and then look at the gameplay.
Like, available now? Like, this is not real. Like, this Melee, you can play it online now?
Yeah, I was playing it as soon as they released on Twitter, and it was just magical.
And I started looking into this, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, this is crazy. And then the first thing I do is I gotta play an American. I gotta play an American right now. It's about 180 ping, but we're playing and we're playing, and we're like, this is doable. Like, this is not unplayable. And I'm like, holy shit! If this is like not disgusting to play someone who is on like the other side of the world, imagine playing someone in Perth.
Throws those nairs so far into the stage, just like out of nowhere. It's insane.
Chad pushes him off.
Oh my god, that was actually extremely
willpower.
cool.
Part of our philosophy as a team is, you know, we want to make this feel like you're playing Melee in 2001 and it has online. That's our goal. In normal games, you're kind of sending your inputs from your computer to your opponent's computer. You know, it's taking some amount of time to get there. It requires both players to be sending things fast enough so they can both sync up. And that's impossible, right? Like, you can never send things instantaneously. So you have this, like, you know, let's say half a second of time where it's like your inputs haven't been processed, but they're being sent over to your opponent. Rollback takes this another step and says, let's just assume someone's inputs are the last thing they inputted. If we get inputs from the opponent that are different, we're just going to rewind time, use those inputs, update, and just keep going. Time rewinding and then fast forwarding over and over and over.
The timing couldn't have been any better, seeing as like we were missing tournaments so badly, and the feeling of playing like genuine Melee.
It's basically Melee's lifeline. Like, it's the only way people can still continue to play competitively.
Like, we're just some 2001 kids party games, and this guy is just like giving us just perfection. He's given us this platform and way to play that we honestly didn't know we needed, and honestly probably don't deserve, but he's just done it anyway for free.
obviously Fizzy's kind of the person pulling the weight of like the actual back end of everything, right? But you need people around you also to try it, to test it, to iterate, and to also have like a level of community management around it. Because when you're releasing something like this, it's not just about the program you release. It is the effect it has on everyone using the program.
And in those first couple weeks and beyond, we saw the biggest influx of new players that we'd ever seen. One of the biggest impacts that Slippy will have once tournaments are back is that hopefully a lot of these players who've gotten into the game via Slippy will start coming to these tournaments once they're back and will have an easier transition than people who used to play on the old netplay.
Slippy is the only way I can get high level practice really. Like the other people on my level basically here in Perth have pretty much retired. They don't really play, so if I want to take this game seriously, I have to play Slippy all the time. So I think it's not just a COVID thing at all. They can never be appreciated enough because it is really just a complete game changer for the Melee scene.
Like up until Slippy, I honestly had no idea how long like Melee would last. But now, with it being released, like I get teary-eyed thinking about the idea that everybody in this collective consciousness actually does want the experience of Melee to live forever. Melee itself is fleeting. It's like a lightning in a bottle, man. We don't know when it's going to run out. Like, it's this thing that's just like, it's only going to exist for a certain amount of time and then it's probably gone. But every action that everyone's taken in their own little community has led to steps that immortalize this game even more. And so every action that all the communities make all kind of ends up being about keeping the game alive enough so that one more new person can come into it and experience something that they experienced. We all just want to see what's next for the game. And if the game dies, then we never will. So we all just want to keep it going. Keep the dream alive.